conversations and storytelling helps us connect with each other, teaches us relatable life lessons, and helps us define who we are as humans. Let's talk. This podcast is focused around women from all walks of life, how we grow, navigate, impact the world that we live in to tell the often untold story. The Rise of Woman is a story of loss, growth, triumph, inspiration, fabulous failure, and all in between. Warning, in this podcast, there is cursing and adult content.
Hello, my name is Kendra Harris, and I am 32, making my zodiac sign a Gemini. And today I will be talking to my favorite cousin, and you are listening to LRI Infinity Let's Talk podcast.
Let's talk. That's Kendra. And in this episode, we will hear the unapologetic story of a woman who is a passionate educator, a coach, a traveler, a homeowner, lover of family, and so much more. Okay, y'all, so I have my cousin with me, the Dizzle, Kendra, and I'm super excited. It's weird growing up with somebody versus meeting them in different times in life. So you inspire me because I like your woman. I have watched you grow up, and just like anybody, I didn't like everything about you, and you grow up and you become this phenomenal woman. I like that you stay fit. I like that you stay positive through adversities in your life. And I like hanging out with you. We have had some fun trips.
Oh, have we?
So I'm super excited to have you on the podcast. So thank you for being here. What is a moment that has impacted your life?
A moment that's impacted my life is really just, I would say, going through the different phases, as in like education wise. Mm-hmm. I feel like every time I go back to school, I learn something new about what I can do and where I want my life to go.
Like what?
So like when I first got my bachelor's degree, it was in communications. Mm-hmm. I liked it because I was into photography. Never went back to it. It was just a phase in my life that I felt that photography and film editing and all that stuff was fun. Then when I finished and tried to go out in the real world, it's like, oh, I can't do that anymore. So what am I going to do? Education. So I went back to school for education. Education opened up a whole new, I guess, meaning to my life, because working with kids and stuff like that, like I never knew how much a kid can impact my life and I can impact their lives.
How old were you when you finished your bachelor's degree?
Yeah.
And then did you get another bachelor's degree?
No, I got my master's.
Okay, in education.
Mm-hmm.
Just general ed, like what?
Yeah, just secondary education, actually.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
Mine's in secondary education.
I know, because we're so much alike.
That's crazy. I really didn't know that. That's crazy. Mm-hmm. What's your concentration?
It was just speech.
Okay, so higher ed speech.
Mm-hmm.
So you could teach at a community college or a college as an adjunct.
Well, that's what I'm working on now, because I just went for secondary education and I took some comm classes. I don't have the 18 hours to teach speech at a community college. So now I'm going back to school so that I can teach at a community college as a side hustle, and that I can teach AP courses at my campus.
Okay, I really didn't know that. That's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
So, what's something in your life that you have failed at fabulously?
Love. Love has been something I have failed at, and I feel like you get so much love from like your family and stuff like that. Then when you go out to meet somebody else, you expect a certain type of love, and that's not what you get back.
Yeah. And not to knock family, but I think that like because my family has been so strong and loving, it's like, and I've seen really good relationships work very well.
Yeah.
Like I struggle because now like I'm 33 and I struggle with that because I'm like, okay, do we have to do all this kid bullshit? Can we just jump to the part where like we get to know each other and throw caution to the wind and get there? Like I don't want to I don't want to frivolously date and do all the dumb shit now. So you say you failed in love fabulously.
Yes.
Okay. Do you like being in love? Do you want to be married? Like,
oh, heck yeah. I would get married today if I had somebody to get married to. But I just feel like I saw good relationships and I saw bad relationships within my family too, that it's just, I don't know if I'm afraid to, or I want it so bad that it's not coming to me, or I could scare people away. I don't know.
Yeah. So do you think that you'd be the same person now if you would have fallen in love and gotten married at a younger age like a lot of our counterparts do?
I don't know. I guess I've always wanted that, to like fall in love earlier in my life, that now that I haven't, I don't know what it would be like or what it would feel like. Like, I've had horrible relationships to where it made me notice I'm an angry black woman, and that I need to control myself sometimes and know that everybody's not like you, and that you just gotta forgive and let go. And so when I learned how to forgive and let go, I feel like I became more in love with myself and not trying to worry about somebody else loving me.
Right. So I hear you say the phrase angry black woman. And I feel like that's just something, once again, that's put on us by our counterparts in every sense, whether it's a black male or white America or a white woman or anything else, versus us just having a more tigress, feisty personality. And I think that everybody has tempers.
Oh, yeah. And
everybody has to learn to control themselves. So, I urge you to push away from taking that, because I don't think you're an angry person. I think that you have a Harris flair and a Harris temper. But like, as we've all gotten older, all 7, 8 of us, like we learn to harness that flame into passions and purposes.
Yeah,
so
I agree with you.
Yeah. Would you rather be crazy rich or deeply in love?
Crazy rich. I mean, no, I lied.
Ooh.
Deeply in love. And I'll say why I wouldn't be crazy rich is because I've saw my parents go through divorce, and it has to do with money, that I would never want to focus my life around money. Now, I need money. I'm not saying I don't want to work for money and I don't want to be rich, but I'm not going to live my life based on money, just because I saw how hard and what it does to people who are in love, I guess. I don't know if they got divorced, but it's just kind of, I don't want to ever be involved in money that deep, that I would rather just stay in love. Like, I'd rather be in love, be poor, and love the person that I'm with for the rest of my life than be angry, have to do with this, and da-da-da, everything's about money, because I feel like that's going to pull life away from you when you're worried about money all the time.
Okay, so let's say you fall in love.
Yeah.
And the conversation of money always comes up, and it's been a challenge. And you're about to get married. Do you believe in shared bank accounts? Do you believe in separate bank accounts? What are your thoughts?
So I would have a shared bank account, and then I would have my personal bank account. I think we each need to have our own money that we can just, let's say like my husband's all into shoes. They ain't coming out of our bank account. They need to come out of your bank account. So if he has money put aside to go buy these $600 shoes, go buy them. That's your money. Go do what you want to do.
And this is under the assumption that both of y'all are working?
Yes.
Okay, so let's say that one of y'all is not working. How does that go? Let's say you're working and he's not working. How does that go? Do you still have separate bank accounts? And he has an allocated amount of money he gets in his bank account every year, and vice versa. If he's working, do you expect yourself to have a personal bank account?
Yes, I still would think that, just because if he's not working, I wouldn't expect him to not want to work for the rest of his life. Like, he's gonna get a job somewhere in there, or gonna be doing some kind of side hustle or something.
Yeah.
And so initially, you're gonna have to have your own money. Now, if he does save money, like he was working, doing his job, then he loses his job, and he puts so much of his money away, he did that for himself, but we still have a shared bank account that
has to be contributed into. Okay, that's interesting. I don't know where that question came from, but I'm always fearful of that conversation, because like, I think it's important, like you said, for to have separate bank accounts, but I think there's a trust factor in putting your money
Yes.
with somebody.
But I do think, like, if you have a shared bank account, I mean, like, if you're going to live in a house, you're sharing a house. So y'all going to pay for it together. When it comes to bills and stuff like that, both of you can contribute to that fund. And of course, if you do family vacations or something like that, like, you have a fund that you can go to that you are both putting into.
Right.
So I feel like as long as we are contributing to something together, like building our lives together, then yeah, let's do that. But at the same time, if I say I want to go to Punta Cana with my girls, I don't want him to expect that I'm pulling from our money. Like, hey, I saved up to go do this trip with my girls. This is what I want to go do.
Yeah, I think that's important, especially because we're older. Like, I have, I think, 2 credit unions, an online bank, and 2 regular banks. And not saying they all have a shit ton of money in them, but, like, it kind of just happens like that the older you get. If I would have got married right out of college... if I'd have got married right out of college, I'd have like 1 bank account, 2 credit cards. Yeah. And still the same amount of debt.
Yeah, right.
The debt's there.
But I think that's a lot, because I have a lot of banks too. And not that there's a lot of money in there, but I knew, like, my dad told me to go do this bank because they have good stuff when it comes to buying a home.
Our dads and that shit.
Yeah, so, I mean, one might have $200, one might have $5, you know? You know, like, it's...
One of them has that minimum. I think it's like $50 and it sits at $52.95. Like,
with interest.
It's like a penny every year or something. Yeah. Okay. What's the biggest challenge that you had as a young adult?
A young adult, managing money. As we talked about money. Managing money because I guess in my younger days, my dad was in Iraq. My parents were getting a divorce. I had to pretty much come up with ways to fund myself because my mom couldn't pay for a lot of things because she had my brother and he was in high school. You know, you don't ever want to pull away from his success because of what he was doing with football and trying to get scholarships. And so because I made a way to college and I had a track scholarship, but it didn't cover everything, that I had to find a way. So as a young adult, I think I struggled not managing what I was like schoolwork and actually trying to be successful, but trying to pay and live like I felt like I should. So that's, I think.
What do you mean?
Like, I was eating like ramen noodles. I knew that's what all college students do, but I was like, man, I'm not eating ramen noodles every day and stuff, because we didn't have a cafeteria. Like, you had to go buy, like, in our little common area, it was like Chick-fil-A and then like some homemade food that they make, but it's not like a traditional college where you have a cafeteria and it's in your tuition kind of thing. Okay. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like no matter what, I would have to spend money to eat. Like, it wasn't part of my tuition.
Yeah. At HBCU, you know, we call that the CAF.
Yeah. So I didn't have that at all.
Oh, Corpus Christi A&M doesn't have.
They had a commons, but like I said, all I had was Chick-fil-A and then like a common like a home.
Yeah. Okay. Huh.
Yeah.
That's interesting. So growing up, let's see, you are an Army brat.
Yes.
And I'm an Air Force brat. And our dads were brothers. And it was weird saying were. Yeah, they are, but we're human on Earth.
Yeah.
How do your family dynamics play into the roles of you being an adult? Like, what are the impacts that you growing up military and your parents divorcing and everything?
Growing up military, it's just made me more diverse. Like, nothing now is like something different to me. Like, I can go and pack up in a heartbeat and move. Like, if you say, hey, you got a job in California, I need you to move in a week. All right. That's easy. I can do that with no, like, I'm not afraid of change. I'm not afraid of packing up and leaving and going somewhere. I'm going to make friends wherever I go. I'm going to live my life wherever I go. So that doesn't affect me. So I think that's a good thing, because like, I moved to Houston coming within a week. I moved to Dallas within a week and a half span. Like, I got a job. It's teaching in Corsicana, and I was living in San Antonio with my mom.
I remember that. Yeah.
And they said, well, we need you to come. School starts in a week. Oh, all right. Me and my mom drove down to Dallas, found me an apartment, signed for it. I moved in within a week. So I feel like it's mostly just, I'm just more open and I'm not stuck on being in one place. I think that's helped me out and changed a lot. With my parents and stuff divorcing, it just made me more afraid to love, because I don't want someone to ever fall out of love with me.
Do you remember, like, the whole divorce when you were younger? Like, what do you remember? Because some people don't remember.
Yeah, my parents divorced when my brother was a senior in high school, and I was, what was I? I was in college, maybe a sophomore. No. So then it was my brother was a sophomore in high school, and then I was a sophomore in college because he was whatever I was in college. He was in high school, so it was our sophomore years.
And what do you remember? How did it affect you? Because you weren't in the house and you weren't around them.
It was it didn't, I don't want to say it didn't affect me to the T, because my dad was in Iraq when they got divorced, and when he came back, that's when they went to court and did all that stuff. But I never saw my dad and my mom together because they were separate, you know what I mean?
Right.
So it didn't affect me in a way that I had to see them argue. It was just, I knew what he did. I don't know. I just knew what he did, and I understood why my mom wanted a divorce. At the end of the day, I think it affected me because he cheated, and so my past boyfriends cheated.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of like, oh shoot,
Is it like a fucking pipeline of bad luck? Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm not afraid. I'm still not afraid because my mom made sure that I wasn't afraid to love. Like, she made me feel like, no matter what, you're going to find that man and he's going to do this for you. So don't be afraid of it. So I'm not afraid of it, but when it happens, I'm like, great.
Yeah, you're like,
it's happened.
Yeah. Yeah, I get super apprehensive. And sometimes now, before something even gets to the point where I care, I probably fuck it up. And then I think about it, because all the relationships prior to that, I tried and I was really open. And how fucked up was it in a situation of a relationship? You're like, I was too nice. Like, how is it to be too nice to somebody that you care about and love? Like, so you just hope that one day you find that person that doesn't take advantage of
who you are,
and the fact that you're being open and vulnerable and kind to them, because you may not get that opportunity to be that way with the rest of the world, but you want that safe place where you can be your actual human.
Yeah.
So,
and I'll say, like, all my boyfriends that I've had, eventually within a year or two will come back like, hey, I never knew what kind of person you are, or based off of me dating so and so, you were this. I'm like, oh, okay, thanks. You know, that kind of boosts me up a little bit, but at the same time, I'm like,
makes you
what you just did. Yeah, like, you did all that. Just like, you hurt me, you built character to who I am. Like, I feel like I gained character from each breakup, but at the same time, don't come back and tell me, oh, well, I wish I would have had you.
The family dynamic of your mom and your dad divorcing, and your dad cheating, and your mom having to come with the realization she didn't want to stay, that plays into your relationships.
Yeah.
So you're a single girl in Houston.
Yeah.
You a hot little chocolate number. Okay. How do you meet guys?
That's the problem. I'm not like a social bug. Like, I don't go out to places to where I feel like I can meet guys. So I tried the online dating.
Which ones have you used?
Oh, all of them. Match, eHarmony, Tinder, Bumble. Maybe, I think POF. Yeah, POF. And I think that's it.
You haven't used Black People Meet yet?
No.
BlackPeopleMeet.com.
I haven't.
And there's another one called Black, BLK.
Really?
Yes. That's the one I met my beau on right now.
Okay, I have to get on that.
We all know that, like, my love life is fluid. So hopefully I can find somebody to stick to my flow. I don't know. You are listening to the Lorraine Infinity Let's Talk podcast. That's LRI Let's Talk on Instagram. Hit me up and DM me with your comments and questions. What has been one of your greatest accomplishments thus far?
Getting a house.
Okay, talk about that and how that worked, and touch a little bit on, like, the day you bought your house and what happened that day and everything, because that was a crazy, story. Day. Yeah.
So living in Houston, I used to live in the Energy Corridor area. Then the hurricane had came and it flooded out like two streets before mine. So like I didn't get flooded or anything, but I couldn't get out my apartments pretty much because of everything else around me was flooded. And so when I was finally able to get out,
what hurricane is this?
Was that Harvey?
Yeah, Harvey,
yeah, Hurricane
2017. And we'll touch on that a little bit. Like, where were you? Like, all that stuff. How long?
So we just started school. They knew a hurricane was coming. I don't think everybody knew like how bad it was gonna hit. So we were out of school. I'm living in my apartment. I'm on the 3rd floor. I have my brother living with me. I already went to the store, got water. So I was like, oh, we're probably gonna be out for like maybe 4 or 5 days, you know, that kind of thing. So I had food in the house. We're good. I had gas in my car. My brother didn't get gas because he didn't listen. So I was like, if we gotta leave, I can just get in the car and go. So, but I don't know why. I just had like a nonchalant attitude about the hurricane. Even, you know, I don't know why, but I stayed in my room, watched TV, read a book. I was just so relaxed. And I wake up and I watch TV and then start seeing like, oh man, this is flooded. These people are going through this, and I don't know. Something just said you need to get out of your apartments before it really comes to you, because they were releasing all the water from the dams and stuff. And I live across from I think it was like the George W. Bush reservoir. And I was like, the time they released that, like all my shit's gone. Like car's about to be damaged. So I told me and my brother we gotta find a way out. So we get my car loaded, get his car loaded. We have to drive all the way down like Highway 6 towards like, I don't even, it's not Sugarland. There's a highway, a beltway, West Parkway, beltway, something like that, to go like, so we go down and over to come back up by Cinco Ranch just to get onto I-10, because everything else was flooded. And so it took us like 2 hours of a 10-minute drive. Took us 2 hours just to get to the highway. And then once we got on the highway, then we were good. And we couldn't get my brother gas because, of course, all the gas was gone. So we just went until his car couldn't make it. And thank God it made it to San Antonio.
Are you serious?
Yes. I have no, like, I swear he was on fumes. But I followed him, you know, just in case if it did break down, you got to park your shit on the side and get in my car. Yeah. But it made it. How? I don't fucking know. I'll say it's the grace of God, because he probably had less than half a tank.
Harvey brought a really, like, huge impact upon Houston.
Especially, like, when my kids, like, when I went back to school. We went back to school maybe 3 weeks after the hurricane and stuff. And just seeing, like, they didn't have anything. They didn't have clothes and stuff like that. I was washing my kids' clothes at the school. Like, I was like, just bring me a trash bag of your stuff. I said, I'll throw it. Don't even worry about bringing me laundry soap. Like, don't worry about it. And they're like, well, what about you gonna fold my clothes? I said, I ain't folding shit, but I'm just gonna wash it, put it in the dryer, and put it back in there so you have clean clothes, because they didn't have any of that stuff. So I was doing that probably for like 2 or 3, actually I say for a month. I was washing kids' clothes, and then I was going through my stuff. Okay, I don't need this, I don't need that. Here, you can have this. I was just giving away clothes. So I don't know. And I helped volunteer at our school. We did school supplies, because we didn't even really start school. Like, we went a day, and then after that, it was kind of like, y'all go home. So it's starting school and giving kids school supplies. Like, one of our elementary schools got flooded out, and they needed stuff. So I have bins from when I used to be in a classroom. Like, now I teach PE, so I don't need a lot of stuff. Right. But when I was teaching in Corsicana, I had, like, all these, like, folders and stuff. So I went through all that and donated it to elementary school. Like, I got rid of a lot of stuff to help a lot of people. Right. And so I felt good about that. But now, you know, you see these kids, they're still going through it. Their houses aren't redone and stuff like that. So it still kind of touches the heart kind of thing. Like,
oh, absolutely, yeah. So Harvey happened. Yeah. And then...
So when Harvey happened, I was talking to my dad, and he said I need to go somewhere where it's like a no flood zone, because I learned a lot about Houston too, how it kind of slopes down. So I need to go further up. So I was like, all right, Dad, I'm gonna start looking for a house. And I remember I was talking to Uncle Johnny, and he says, about goddamn time y'all invested in something. Like, he gave this whole speech about investing into
and y'all was collectively like, all of us kids. Yeah. So good for you for taking the lit, girl, because damn.
And so I started looking with my realtor. I found a house that I really, really loved, only for it to have a rat living in the stove. And so I had to give that up. Not that I wanted to. Like, I was like, we can get a exterminator come and get the rat out. But my dad was like, no, that means more rats are going to come. You don't know if it had babies. And I was like, oh, shit, okay.
Yeah.
So my realtor found this other home that was kind of like on the other side. Like, there's a subdivision here, and there's a street, and then there's a subdivision across.
Okay,
so,
yeah, I know what you're talking about.
So she went in there, and she showed me this home. And I was just like, oh, no, I don't really like it. She was like, well, Kendra, you don't have any other options, especially in your price range. I was like, no, you make the shit work.
Yeah.
Like, this is your job.
Yeah, don't limit me.
Yes. And so I got really upset and frustrated, and I called my dad, and I told my dad, I was like, I don't know what to do. She keeps showing me this home. She took me to the same home 2 times, and I was like, why you keep bringing me to this shit? Like, I don't want to live here. And so my dad said, okay, I'm going to go with y'all one day. So he comes down, we go looking at homes, and he starts looking like, dang, some of these homes is bad off, because once you start looking at like the reports, you'll see like, oh, it had 2 inches of water. And she's like, but it was only in the back. Like, no, bitch, if it's in the back, that means it's going to flood again.
Right.
And another incident. And then I learned about another flood, the tax day flood, or whatever they called it. And so I was like, all right, so if that house flooded on this day and it flooded on here, I don't want the house.
Right, it's underwater the next time.
So she was like, well, I want to show your dad that house I keep taking you to. And I was like, all right, show it to him. He ain't going to like it.
Oh,
either.
my God.
As soon as he walked in here, his first thing, this has a lot of good investments, and you can do this. And I was like, oh, he said, just try it. He said, just try it. If it works out, it works out. If it doesn't, it doesn't. He said, if you don't like it, then we'll rent it out or something. I was like, all right, let's try it. I bet you I won't get it.
God,
I'll be damned. That bitch came back. Yo, they approved. And it was like, the house in that whole neighborhood, everything's over $200,000. I got it for $180.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh.
Yeah.
I thought bidding, going underneath would be like, oh,
you were
no.
trying. Look at God. Look at God. And so what? It's a 4-bedroom.
It's a 4-bedroom, 2-bath. A wonderful backyard, front yard. The people around me are awesome. I like a very quiet neighborhood. It has never flooded. So I don't know. I just feel like
everybody's leaning forward. Like, is she gonna say the neighborhood? Nah, she ain't saying it.
Need y'all
keep it secret. Keep it safe.
But that same, like, I guess going through the process, it was a little stressful because that's when your dad was sick. And my dad was helping me through it a little bit, like helping me out with some earnest money and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And he would come down and he would be kind of like tired because, they were doing shifts
at the
hospital.
Were. Yeah.
And so
my sister and your dad.
And so he would come down after his shift and help me try to get stuff situated. And every now and then I would call. And I remember one time your dad was at my dad's house. And I had called because I was stressed. I was like, I called the house phone and your dad answered the phone. And so he was like.
He must have been close to it.
Yeah, he was like, hello? I was like, Uncle Johnny, I need my dad. He's like, oh, that nigga up there asleep. I'm like, sleep? Why is he asleep? It was like 1 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And he was like, we just came from somewhere. I guess, I don't even know where they came from. But he said, your dad drove me.
Was this before or after the transplant?
I want to say it was after.
It might have been right after.
Yeah,
because he wasn't supposed to be around a lot of people.
Yeah, and he was staying at my dad's house because it was closer to Colleen.
Temple.
Temple. And so I was just like, no. He's like, no, I'll go upstairs and wake him up. You need him? I'm like, no. I'll just tell him whenever he wakes up to call me. And so he's like, no, I'm about to go up the stairs. And I'm yelling at you, don't you dare go up those stairs.
He's not supposed to.
And he's like, no, I'm going up the stairs, Kendra. You need him. I'm going upstairs. You get in that damn house? I'm like, yeah, I'm trying to. And, I was like, but I'm just stressing. He was like, oh, okay, I'm going to go upstairs. I said, no. So I'm arguing with him not to go up the stairs, but he's asking me questions. I can't lie to you, Dad.
Right,
like,
yeah,
that's hard.
Can't, man.
Yeah, I would never. So I was like, no, it's fine. I'm good. And so he was like, all right. And I'll be damned, like maybe 2 hours later, my dad calls, is everything okay? Your Uncle Johnny said something's wrong. And I was like, no, I just told him don't go up the stairs.
2 hours later?
Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah. And so then everything got done, and on April 26th was about to be my move-in day. And I'm asleep. My dad comes down on the 25th, and I don't know where he went. He went somewhere else. And I was at my house sleep, and at 3, it had to be like 3:30.
It's your new house?
No, I'm still in my apartment.
Oh,
so it's
apartment.
the day that morning, and your mom calls me and she's like, "Hey, Kendra," and I'm like, she's so calm, and I'm like, "Hey, yeah, it's 3:30 in the morning. You would never call me at 3:30 in the morning." She's like, "Have you seen your dad?" I was like, "No, he's not here. Do you need me to call him?" I says, "Everything okay?" And she said, "Yeah, everything's okay." I said, "Are you sure?" She's like, "You just need to tell your dad that your uncle has passed and he's gone on now." And I'm just like, "Why are you so calm?" Like, I just died crying. She's like, "Kendra, it's okay. I need you to do this for me." Like, she was not getting irritated, but she's like, "I need you to do this.
Very persistent.
I need you to do this. I need you to do this." And so I'm just like, "Okay, I can do it. I can do it. Anything else you need me to do?" She's like, "No, I just need you to do this. Call your dad. Call your brother. I'm going to call my children. I need to talk to your dad, but he won't answer his phone." I'm like, "Okay, I'll call my dad. I'll call my dad."
Oh, so it's so weird finding out the order people found out everything. So you found out probably first after Mom.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Because she was trying to get a hold of my dad.
Yeah.
So my dad would have been first.
Yeah.
But she couldn't get a hold of him because she knew he was coming down to help me sign.
That's crazy.
So I ended up calling my dad. He didn't answer the phone until it was like 9 something in the morning. And at that time, I had movers at my house because I was packing up to go move in. And he calls. He's like, "Yeah, the movers didn't come." I'm like, "No, they're here." He's like, "Well, what you need? You don't need me to help you pack your shit, Kendra. I ain't coming to help." Like, he's like doing. I'm like, "No."
And you're like, "Shut up."
Yeah. It's like, "No, Dad. I was calling because Aunt Regina had called me, and I need to tell you that Uncle Johnny passed away." And he just said, "All right," and he hung up. My dad's never done that. And so he came over to my house, and he just said, "All right, let's pack." And I'll be damned. We packed my house. Well, I was already kind of halfway packed, but we just started helping the movers. And we helped the movers, and they were like, "No one's ever helped us, especially from the 3rd floor." And I was like, "Yeah, we wouldn't help you either."
We just have to get some energy out.
Yeah, so we helped moved all my stuff down to the 3rd floor, and we moved into my house. And when the people put the last furniture down, my dad sat down and he said, "I can't believe he's gone."
Shit. Yeah.
But he never cried. And I said, "Well, you know, I knew one thing. He told me he was fucking happy that I got a house and started investing in something different." So my 1-year anniversary was the 1 year that he passed away. And he's sitting in front of my fireplace and by my front door and in my room. And I think every day that I have that is something that he wanted me to have. And he blessed it.
Yeah, definitely.
He blessed it. So, I don't know. I love it. My plan, once I actually get outside and it's not 102 degrees or it's not raining, I was going to plant like a whole bunch of rose bushes in honor of him just kind of blessing my house.
Yeah.
It's been a blessing.
Yeah.
I love it now, even though I didn't love it before, but I love it. And I think that's why my dad doesn't come down and stay at my house that much. But he'll come in like, "Oh, it looks good." And then he'll like, "All right, I'll catch you later."
It's just like a touch point. Like, it's too much. Yeah, so it's like your house is like it has a weird like joy and sadness in it for you, because I remember when I came over and you told me that, I was like, "Girl, like that is a shitty house birthday." Like, isn't that like, that's tough. Like, so it's crazy because rewind. My mom.
Oh, when your mom came to my house, and she didn't know that I was getting the house that day too. So she came in, I told her, and she's like, "Kendra, how long you been in here?" And I said, "Oh, I moved in on this day." And she looked at me, "Oh, well, do you like it?" And I was like, "Yeah."
Yeah.
And she just said, "This is beautiful. I think this is a good choice for you." She goes, "And I knew this is what you needed to be in." And I said, "Oh, thanks," because I was just like, I'm moving out.
Right.
But I haven't, and I truly love it.
Yeah, it's a very nice house.
No, thank you.
Your house story is the most emotional house story I've ever heard.
I know.
It really is.
But it has so much value.
It
and
does.
It makes me put so much more effort into it. Because shit that I'm doing now, I'm changing door handles. I would never do that. I'm trying to, like, I don't know, clean out my garage.
You have a different, like, respect and value for it.
Yeah. Yeah. More than what I thought I would have. Just because at first when I was like, okay, I'm going to get the house, I was like, oh, I'm going to hire somebody to do all this shit.
Right.
I ain't doing it. But now I'm like, no, I'm going to take pride in it. And I'm going to try to do it. If I can't do it, of course, if it's electrical or some shit like that, I'm not going to do it. But it's like I'm putting more of my efforts to that house. Just because I feel like if I don't put in efforts, I can hear your dad now. Because, like, what the fuck you doing with this house? And da-da-da. So I feel like if I don't do it, he'll come and just
lights flickering and shit, girl.
And I refuse,
girl, right,
to have that. So I'm putting in my efforts.
Yeah, no, like since my dad's passed, I feel like it's a pipeline to the Lord. But like I also feel like I'm like, could you not bother me about this? Mm-hmm. I am just like, so it's weird for me.
Yeah.
But that's crazy. Are you enjoying what you're hearing? Follow us on Instagram at LRI Let's Talk.
I remember talking to him before. When he was about to go do something. I think he was going to the hospital. He said, I don't want to go. They ain't got no good food. And so I was like, don't worry, Uncle. I'm going to bring you some church's chicken. I'm sneaking in my bag. And he said, okay, just don't tell my wife.
Yes.
And I was like, I promise you, I won't tell her anything. So I won't. But I do regret that I never went to the hospital. I think I couldn't personally take seeing him in that state. Like when I saw him at Grandma and Grandpa's house, you know, and he's like, I gotta do dialysis, I'd be like, oh, like I hate seeing him like that. And so knowing that when he was in the hospital, my dad was like, I don't know if you want to come, Kendra, and see him in this state.
Don't regret it. You don't want to see that. No, don't regret it. Absolutely not.
I do.
Don't.
Because I remember him as, you know, that's my plump uncle. The one that, I don't know if y'all knew my uncle, but he talked to me about shit. Like little shit that come out your booty hole shit.
Yeah. Like,
said it's unhealthy if you don't shit at least 3 times a day. And I will live up to that. Like he made me shit 3 times a day. Because I thought it was unhealthy. And then he said if it doesn't have a smell, you're really unhealthy. Like those are the conversations that we have. Like, oh, for real, uncle? Like my shit don't stink, then I need, oh no, like I gotta make sure it stinks. He's like, yeah, eat some broccoli. Make your shit stink. It's like, all right, so I eat broccoli now. It was like those kind of things. He's the only reason why I went and got my principal cert. Yeah. Because he told me that you really want to do something with your life, you need to get your principal certification. I'm like, uncle, that has nothing to do with my life. Like, I don't want to be a principal. He said, no, but you need to join, it was like the black, what is it called? I can't even remember it now. Because I still haven't joined. And that's one thing he always got on to me.
Yeah. But didn't you say that principal certification but keeps showing up different places?
Yes.
Like.
And so I finally did it. Like, I did it. Once he passed, I joined that summer. I was like, okay, I'm going to do it. I finished the whole program. I took my test, and I missed it by 15 points. But I've never went back to take it. Because, like, at that point, I had to drive to do it for him. Yeah. And now I'm just kind of like, not that I don't have to drive, but I'm just kind of like, I didn't pass it the first time. So
you know what's going to end up happening? It's going to start. Going to start bugging the shit out of you.
It is already. So I'm going to sign up this summer. I'm putting this on the podcast. I'm signing up this summer. I'm going to take it, and I'm going to pray that I pass it because that was one thing he got on to me about. You need to go get this certification. You need to go do this.
So next time you have some interview on one of my podcasts, you're going to be a principal. Is that what you're saying?
Well, I'm gonna have my stuff done. I don't want to be a principal yet because I feel like I can still change lives coaching, and that's another reason why I got into coaching is because your dad. Like, I just saw how hard ass he was. I was like, I want to do that.
Yeah. And
so I just started, doing it. And he would always ask me too. Like my first year when I came here in Houston, he was like, how's your team? And we sucked. Like, I didn't score no more than, the girls didn't score more than 5 points. I was like, Uncle, we can't even get over 5 points. He said, well, the day you get 8, call me. I said, all right. So we got like 10 one game. I'm like, Uncle, we got 10. He said, good. Did you win? I said, hell no, we didn't win. We got our asses whooped by like 80.
And we are a family of cussers, by the way. So hearing my cousin, now you fully understand why we are cussers. And not only are we cussers, but we're proper.
Yes.
What's something that overwhelms you right now?
Oh, overwhelms me. I would say my house, just because there's so many things that you got to get done. Like, I tried cutting my grass. I can't keep up with that shit, so it just keeps going. So I have to get a grass man. Now it's like my trees is outgrowing and they hitting the roof. Gotta get that. So I feel like there's so much stuff that I need to get done with the house that it's overwhelming me, that I don't think I can get to all of it. But as I knock one thing, like, I just make a list, say keep calm, do one thing at a time, then do the next. And so I've been getting to it. So now my grass looks great. You know, I'm waiting for my yard in the mud. Mm-hmm.
Oh, so my butt. So you're competing for yard of the month?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, is that why you have all that shit in your front yard?
Yes, girl, I'll try to.
Okay, well, we'll have a garden party if you get yard of the month, and we'll like set up little chairs in the front and like have a little party.
Yeah, go to my neighbors.
Yeah.
Did you get yard of the month? No,
you invite everybody over to enjoy your yard, bitch. Don't be rude.
I want to rub it in people's faces.
Oh my god, you're so rude. All right, who is your favorite person and why?
Oh, my favorite person, like in the family or just in general?
Your story.
I don't have a favorite person.
Because everybody gets on your nerves.
Yeah, like, you know, we all get on each other's nerves, but I feel like when it comes to certain things that I want to do, I have favorite people to hang out with when it comes to those things.
Like what?
So, like us doing Urban Camp Week, you're my favorite person because I know that we can go and like have a good time. It's not like, oh, we gotta have this plan. We can just sit out. We don't gotta go to, we can just sit in the water, have a drink, and we're cool. People watch. That's fucking awesome. Like, that's what I know we're good for.
Yeah.
So if I want to do something chilled and go out and adventurous, I know who to call.
Yeah.
If I want to go out out in the Houston nightlife club scene, I got my friend to call for that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I know I can rely on her. She's like, oh yeah, we can go. Da, 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 da. I'm like, all right, let's go. Or if I want to go like on a vacation, like I'm going to Aruba on the 12th because that is my birthday. I know, like, I have my set of friends that I know no matter what, no matter how late I plan it, they're going to be down and they're going to go. Mm-hmm. Like, you know, like, so I feel like I have certain people in my life to meet my personality and make me shine when it comes to certain things that I want to do.
Oh yeah, that's deep. I like that. That's a good point. I have favorite people in different areas of life too. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's interesting. My favorite thing is when people that are favorite in one area cross over into another.
Yeah.
And then I realize I like them even more. That's my favorite thing.
Okay.
Because then it's like, oh, I get you for 2 licks, not 1. Okay. Oh, 3 licks, not 1. And I think that's how people turn into like my best friends. Yeah. What's something that you really like about yourself?
I guess my personality. I can have fun, and it's kind of weird. Like, I take things personal, but I don't. But I know who to take things personal from, and I don't. You know, so I feel like I don't hang out with a lot of girls. I hang out with guys, and the reason why I feel like I hang out with guys is because I'm so loose at the lips that I can just talk, and they're like, "Oh shit, then you know I didn't know about that," and da da da. And I like to just joke around and have fun, and then I become that chick. They're like, "Oh yeah, you know," everybody calls me Harris. Like at work, like I hang out with all guys at work, and they're like, "Oh yeah, Harris can come. She wanted a fella."
What is something about yourself that you wish you liked?
Oh. I guess my body.
Okay. What about your body?
You know, I've been, in high school, I did not break 100 pounds. Actually, I didn't break 100 pounds until probably halfway through my freshman year in college. And when I did break 100, it was like 110. Mm-hmm. So I was like, oh. But I always felt like, you know, people want to lose weight to be thinner. I wanted to gain weight to be a little thicker. Mm-hmm. Like, I wanted more muscle tone in my legs, or muscle just anywhere in my legs or butt or arms or titty shit, you know. Mm-hmm. So I feel like I always want to work on my body to get it to a certain weight or look a certain way. I don't want to be skinny, but I don't want to be fat. Let me say that. It's like weird. Like, I want to be in the middle where I have curves and something that could make me feel good about myself. Like, I wish I had bigger boobs, but my mom said I won't get them until I get pregnant. So I'm like, all right, well, I gotta wait on that. So I'll wait. But I do feel like over the years, like, my weight have went up to, like, I was almost 170 something, and I was like, ooh,
it wasn't for you.
Yeah, but I wanted to tone it. Like, the weight didn't really bother me, but I didn't like how it was sitting on me. So I was like, okay, I need to go and do this in the gym and do da-da-da. So I started working out a little bit more. And I'm now finally comfortable kind of with my body, but I don't love it.
And that's the thing you wish you loved about yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, you know what they say? That it's nothing but the devil, because it's like something that you have is something that somebody else wants.
Yeah.
And the stuff that you want that somebody has, they don't want.
Yeah.
So it's always this ongoing thing. Have you ever like looked back at pictures of yourself and you're like, you knew exactly how you felt about yourself, and you're like, I was crazy.
Yeah.
Like, I looked great. What impression do you try to give people when you first meet them?
Oh, that I'm nice. Like, I'm a nice, open person. Like, I want people to feel like they can trust me. Because my first, like, when I meet people, I think it might be a bad trait for me is that I trust them. I trust them to a certain extent. I mean, I'm not about to sit here and say, let me tell you my deepest secret.
Right.
But I trust you to be honest with me, because I haven't given you nothing to not be honest with me. Right. And I'm going to be the same with you. So I want to make sure when people first meet me that they feel that I'm open, easy to talk to, and trustworthy.
Okay. What impression do you think they're actually getting?
Well, from what I've heard, that I seem like I'm snobby. And I was like, what? Like, really? I don't think I'm snobby, but they say my facial expressions, and I've been working on that. Like, my facial expressions express what I'm thinking, but they don't know what I'm thinking, because I could be looking like, damn, that dude's taking down that goddamn turkey leg, but my face might be like, ugh, like, like I don't know, it's weird. So I think I need to work on what I'm thinking and not wearing it on my face and just smile. I just want to make sure that I'm an approachable person.
That's fair. Okay. If you could give one piece of advice to a person, what would it be?
That's weird, because I actually just gave this young lady at my school this advice, and I would use it for anybody. You only have one life to live, and if you have that one life to live, you better make it the life that you want to live. Don't do it based off of what anybody else wants you to do, what anybody else expects you to do. You live it based off of what you want to do, because I feel like at the end of the day, if you said you want to be a cosmetologist, but someone told you no, you need to go be a doctor. If you want to be a cosmetologist, you're going to put more effort. You're going to make good money. You're going to be great at it. Just go do it. Because nobody else is going to live that life. So do what you have to do. Don't put no shame to what you're doing to get there. Just do it. So I feel like that's
you only have one life to live.
One life. And if you're going to sit here and fuck it up trying to live your life for somebody else, and then they can leave you in a heartbeat, you ain't living life.
Right.
So just live the life that you want. And if they happen to come in there and join you in that life
and amplify,
then
good.
Go for it.
If you could ask a single person one question and they had to answer truthfully, who and what would the question be? Who would it be, and what would the question be?
That's hard. I guess I would ask a certain person, why didn't he love me more or fight for me?
This is a male, an ex?
Yeah.
Is this like the person broke your heart?
Yeah.
Did he cheat on you?
Yeah.
That fucks if you still.
But I just want to know why. He's the only person who hasn't came back and said anything. All the rest of the niggas came back. He didn't. So I want to know why. Yeah. Like, I know you think it, you just ain't said it. But he's married and has 3 kids.
So good for him. Interesting. Very interesting. So, let's see here. Is there anything else you want to tell or share with me or put out in the universe?
I think the world of you.
Thank you.
I love your artistic, wonderful mind.
Thank you.
And I think your dad raised wonderful kids.
Oh, you're gonna make me cry. Thank you. One of the most beautiful things that I have seen out of my dad passing is hearing all these stories and like how connected he was with
just people. I know, people. Like at the funeral, all those kids showed up. I'm like, there's more kids than there were adults.
Yeah.
Not that that's a bad thing, but that just means he influenced so many lives.
Yeah, because that's a generational influence.
Oh, yeah.
So once again, thank you for being on the podcast. I love you. I love your energy. It has been transformative learning about you in this way, because I do know a lot about you. And I appreciate you taking the time to be here.
Oh, anytime.
But to everybody that's listening, and as always, tell your story, be your own brand, live your truth, and stand in your moment.
Alrighty, y'all. My name is Kendra, and I am 32. And I hope that y'all take this and learn something new about me and what my family has built and instilled inside of me. And that you just kind of continue to grow and live that one life that you have. You just listen to my story as I live my truth and stand in my moment on the LRI Infinity Let's Talk podcast, bitches.
All right, thank you so much. Have you ever looked at somebody or their circumstances and wondered, what is the reality for a young black female from Alabama that moved to Texas for her education and discovered a whole new world?